Mark Smith again with Family Tree Counseling, and we are working with our real life but fictitiously named couple, Tom and Denise, and we're through. I think we got most of her side of the family, and now we're going to get into his side of the family, and then the last section will be just talking about the recovery process and recommendations for books and group therapy and that kind of thing. So, Tom, your side of the family, this is what I heard, was your dad, it was a lot of emotional cutoff.
Mm-hmm.
So your dad was pretty highly counter-dependent, would you say, or
Mm-hmm.
controlling?
Controlling,
Yeah. And he was always in the basement working.
or on the road working. Mm-hmm. What is the working part?
Working. And there but not there when he was there.
Right.
And on top of that, you guys moved a lot due to his job. And so a lot of abandonment. And a lot of times I'll look at a family system, and if there's something in the family system sort of dramatic, it tells me how healthy the family system was. And you told me that one of his sisters, if I have this right, was beaten to death by her husband.
Mm-hmm.
So,
About 10 years ago.
yeah, so right there I know, that's an unhealthy family. That's a sort of an indication of some major issues. Now, did your dad have a temper at all, or was he just a workaholic?
When he get mad, he got quiet.
Okay. Quiet as in almost
He'd
like
start to
pouty?
whisper.
Okay.
You could tell how pissed off he was by how hard it was to hear what he was saying.
Okay. Was that a little scary or not really scary? Yeah.
It was how my siblings and I kind of bonded together. We'd know what was coming.
Okay. Then your mother also emotional cutoff, and she had a lot of rage and some issues with drugs.
That wasn't until,
That was later, the drugs.
yeah, not until my adulthood.
Okay. But her rage, you said, could be vicious.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So this is a tough combination, Tom. Abandonment from your dad and vicious rage from your mother. Not all people are created equally. And this is a rough set of facts here. So you mentioned wooden spoons, which were used by your mother.
Spoons, flip-flops,
Sandals. And then you ended up sort of helping her
Mm-hmm.
because she was in some rehab for the drug issue later, and as a young man, you were helping her living with you and that kind of thing. Okay. Brings you to what we'll call her Beth. Pick a name for her. We're going to call her Beth, wife number one.
That's a nicer name than I have.
And you became enmeshed with her, and it led to cut off. And you said she brought you to anger quickly.
Mm-hmm.
I had a fellow once show up in one of my groups, and he said of his wife, what did he say? Something to the effect of, we found the crazy in each other. just get them together, and it just went to crazy. You said Beth had rage, and she was Brazilian. It's interesting, these there's stereotypes for certain ethnic groups, and the reason there's stereotypes is they're true for a lot of people, not for everybody. But the stereotype for Brazilian is that they have tempers, and you can confirm that in this case. And you said that communication shut down, to say the least.
Yeah.
Okay. Brings us to Denise. And you meshed with her. It's led to cut off. And she is enmeshed with her twin. And she says she withholds love due to the issue with her son and you. And she has some victim-y characteristics because you made commitments that you haven't kept and have done the opposite in some cases. And she leans toward being counterdependent and controlling. But not so much a temper, though. Yeah. Okay.
You wouldn't say that, would you?
Okay. So, so the pattern, the strongest pattern, is emotional cutoff. And just your dad was one big abandonment wound, and then you come here, and you didn't realize what you were getting into. You know, because there's probably just, it's complex. It's you have this trying to build a blended family is like trying to build a pyramid, and you're the Egyptians way back when they built it. I have no idea when they built it, long time ago. BC, I'm thinking. So that is what Denise brings to the table in terms of abandonment. Is there's trouble in paradise here at home, and she knows that her sister, has always been a safe place. Not a perfect person, but it's her person. So, and then maybe not so much temper, but counterdependent and controlling and victim-y. So your mom had power, and now Beth had rage, and so you're just not a rager at all. You don't lose your temper. So that probably wouldn't go there. I mean, sometimes you're just not there yet, but I think it's more about you not having power in terms of being able to impact her relationship with her sister. And she said herself that she's trying to control just about everything, because that's her nature. And and then what you do is hold it in, and then rage. And then who looks like the bad guy then? So that's what you sort of arrange for yourself, is abandonment and not so much rage. You arrange for yourself. That's a good way to say it. I say it that way to make a point, because we think in terms of relationships that we're having stuff done to us, but that isn't what relationships are about at all. And it's there's a famous marriage counseling book that talks talks about this "you marry your issues" thing, and that's the Harville Hendrix getting the love you want. And he was the therapist who was on Oprah more than any other therapist besides the guy who stayed, besides Dr. Phil. But this was Harville Hendrix, and he's been going on 30 years talking about how you marry your issues, but it still is not a prevalent thought in our culture. My own kids, I tell them, dudes, you guys are screwed.
Because your dad's a psych.
Your dad's got issues.
counselor.
You know that you're going to have it, and they're like, no, that isn't true. It's not. We're not going to be in bed. Yeah, we'll talk down the road.
We won't, but she'll be.
So those are the patterns, and just know that you chose to put yourself in a place where you're not number one. You're probably not number two. Your son, the kids, the other kids.
Yeah, they're number two.
Yeah, and sister, between the sister and the kids, he's lucky to be number three. And again, you arranged that. If you would have gone to a party or whatever and you're single and there was a woman who would put you number one, you wouldn't like her. She wouldn't like you. There should be no chemistry. Had to be somebody, a nice person, a good person. She's not betraying you for some affair. She's putting kids and sister, but it's still a betrayal. But it's something it's not a betrayal in the sense that that's what you were looking for. Consciously, nobody looks to be betrayed, but unconsciously is where we make our real decisions. So, well, why don't we just go ahead and get into, let me look and see. Could you check and see, Tom, if there's a couple out there? And if they are, we'll wrap up. If not, we'll just plug along. Nobody? Okay, well let's keep going then. Okay, I wanted to say another thing, and that is 4 ways people can see themselves and see others. The first digit is about how you see yourself. So a plus is I'm cool, and I like me, and I'm doing the right things. And then the second digit is about the world in general and your spouse in particular. So a plus is, the world's a pretty good place. It's not always safe. Sometimes you run the Boston Marathon and get your legs blown off. But that usually doesn't happen. There's been a lot of people who run the Boston Marathon. They just run the Boston Marathon and they don't get their legs blown off. But and your spouse in particular, she got issues, but she's good egg. She's okay. She's doing the right things. Plus minus is I'm doing the good things, but he's sort of a stinker. I signed on for this good stuff. He'd give me the bad stuff. And then minus plus is more, you're right, I'm the bad guy, I'm a worm. Blame me because, I am the bad guy. And then the really dark one is minus, and that's, I hate myself, the world's not a safe place, and my spouse is a jerk, and I'm thinking about slicing my wrists. It's just a dark, hopeless, it's a place of hopelessness. So what I'm concerned about, Denise, is you have a bit of a plus-minus-y take on your husband. And I want to shift both of you to plus-plus. And you probably have a plus-minus-y take on at least the sister issue. Maybe some others. So okay, real quick. And I think I have gone over this with you guys, but I'm going to go over it again. The 5 qualities that I look for in terms of how much progress you'll be able to make, it comes down to a lot of motivation. And people generally are motivated when they start to just not get divorced. But once they get here, a better motivation is, you got issues, and it's disturbing. And you want to work on you just to work on you. Hopefully it will save your marriage, and if you both do the work, it absolutely will. But the main reason for doing the work is you need to do the work for you and for your children. Because if you get healthier, it's going to do nothing but sprinkle onto them for their future and their kids' future. The second thing is being teachable, having an open psychological defense system where words can pierce the defenses and there's not too much shame. And when I say something that's true, to have it register, to go bang, yeah, I got it, see it. And that's not everybody can do that. Probably 80% of people that come here are pretty teachable, and 20% they're just not ready or they're just not able to. The third thing is having lots of pain. Now, after today, I won't have any agenda of doing an assessment or feedback. You got to bring material next time. Bring a list, a mental list or a written list of stuff that hurts.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
and we'll revisit that. It doesn't have to be about the marriage, because I tell people this isn't really marriage counseling. Marriage counseling, I don't even believe in marriage counseling because it really doesn't work. Marriage counseling is, hey, let's the three of us brainstorm and see how we can enrich your marriage. That ain't gonna flow for you guys. That ship has sailed a long time ago. What we're doing is heal the core of you all the way back to your childhood as two individuals. And as you do that, since your spouse is in recovery and they're changing, might as well just stay married to them because they're on the right path. Right, right. And you got children together, and you have a home together. You don't have to cash that in. Now, if one person isn't capable of changing, they're not doing the work, then you probably do need to. But if two people can do the work, might as well just hold on to what you got and fix yourself in that context. The fourth thing is trust, trusting me, trusting this process. And then the fifth thing is follow through. And follow through would be reading books. Generally, people in our practice in the first year, they probably read 10 or 12 books. There's a lot of things to learn about.
Right.
And so there's a lot of work to do. Generally, we recommend some group therapy. So it takes time, and it takes energy, and it takes work. But these are the qualities. If a couple has enough of these, it's like a slam dunk. That the marriage will not only be saved, but it'll be rebuilt into something a lot better than it ever was. So how recovery works is there's 3 steps, and the first thing is having lots of insight. Having the walls penetrated. And the second thing is what I call deep processing. And what that is getting at the wounded little kid inside you. And so, Tom, for you, it's going to be having a voice when you need to have a voice to be angry, but sin not. Quote another scripture. To be angry and not be reactive and not rage. And it'll also mean feeling the underlying wounded little kid inside you who was abandoned, and then not when you're abandoned as a kid, and then your spouse steps away from you, it can trigger rage, and reactivity. And then, Denise, for you, it's about feeling anger toward somebody who's raged at you, and the person you really need to be angry with is your mom, and your dad too, So next time, bring in material, and
So what's the third step in this recovery?
thank you. Healthy changes. So you need to do a lot of 1 and 2, It's not like you have to wait 3 years before you get to 3. You get a little bit as you go. Really, just understanding the recovery process is you can get a good chunk of better immediately by understanding, that you're not a victim. So we'll see you next time with your material, and somebody will come in and share. Probably be you, Denise, and then I'll give you a shot at it, and you'll just sit and not interrupt her, just let her talk, and then you talk, and then I'll probably go back and forth, and then I'll start writing on the board trying to instill insight. Because at this point, what we're trying to do is loosen up your psychological defenses and shift you out of the victim mentality, and you become therapy buddies instead of adversaries.
Okay.
Which is a lot better than adversaries. So.
A lot better than that.
Okay. Well, thanks for sharing your story with all the people out there. God bless.